Okay, guys, welcome to Tuesday evening, and we're going to try to get some stuff done. When it is, who knows? We're going to wing it. That's why I was not specific. But, yeah, the girls are out of town just for one night, so we'll see what we can knock out here. And first thing I got to do is I got to clear my table because I've got all kinds of stuff down here, including some Airfix stuff. I'm thinking I should just go ahead and I hate leaving these things in a half-ass state. But I'm going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to leave them in a half-ass state. Now, these are the old MPC. They were MPC here. Things that I had, some Opel Blitz trucks. And two of them. And then a couple of Pack 40s that came with them. And put them together. I made a list of all the models that I had half built. And I think I've just about exhausted all of it. There's a couple of exceptions to it, but I made really good progress the last couple weeks on that. Where's the top to this other one? I'm gonna put these guys all together. I'm gonna clear the table here. Yeah, we got a lot done, and I decided to go this route instead of work on one, paint it, work on one, paint it, because one of the big reasons is the pieces are everywhere. And because the pieces are everywhere, there were some pieces missing that after like 2 moves, I don't know where the heck they were. And I needed to find them. In order to find them, I needed to build some stuff so I could see what's left over. So I knew I hadn't thrown stuff away. I think the only thing I threw away is I had some Roco mini tanks, Panzer IIIs that were like very, very, very basic looking, and or they were damaged or something like that. We got rid of them. Where is the little top to this? All right, so let's I'm going to cut this stuff off because we don't want to keep extra sprue. And there's some extra pieces here that we will keep because I don't want to drill out the stuff for the Opel Blitz at this point. Okay, these are keepers. And then what do we have over here? The same stuff over here. Except there's a guy over here sitting on his fanny. We'll see if anybody shows up today. And what I get done depends a lot on you guys. You know, we found a bunch of decals. What's this? Instructions for an Achilles. Yeah, I don't have that one. That's an MMS Achilles. My buddy Jeff must have had an Achilles. I kept the instructions. And we'll put that in there as well. It's part of the reconnaissance set. 251 goes there. I wonder where the hell is a roof to that? It was here. Alright, there's not a whole lot of stuff in here. You doubt you'd show up? I don't know. You guys are losers like me, don't have anything to do. And I kid about that. This is one of the best things you can do. This is called therapy, mental therapy. So, well, I did order some stuff this week. I thought about it for like 2 weeks. I did order some stuff this week, and will arrive towards the weekend, so we're going to have some unboxings of some things that are kind of unusual, including some paints I've never used before. And I'm not going to spoil it, but I'm looking forward to trying that out. And I'll tell you what, there's a little bit over a week left to the next convention, and I don't know that I've ever been this disinterested in going to a convention as this one coming up. I don't know, maybe it's just too soon after Historicon. I'm not excited about playing anything in particular. You know, maybe I'm having too much fun with you guys. I don't know, maybe it's a combination of all things. I'm just not that excited to go to a convention. Let's get this stuff out of the way. I want to paint some of these tanks. I want to get more. So we got some stuff to work on the tanks that I have. Okay, that's how I allowed myself to do that. And including some stars. We're going to do the Shermans first. I'm going to do the Shermans because the Shermans don't usually get a lot of love. And it's really easy to get excited about the Nazi tanks because they're cool looking, even if they're the bad guys. But they'll just have to wait. Oh, now you're listening. I'm just not interested, Marty. Doesn't mean I'm not going to go. I'm just... You've been over in Europe playing with your Pokemons. I got 7 figures to paint, and I don't really care if I finish them or not. I'm going to try, but... Yeah. I'm tired of gaming in the heat. The convention won't be heat, but... I came home, I showered, I changed clothes, I'm comfortable. This is how I want to operate. Let's see how nasty I can get to go over there and game. Because I'm just going to end up sweating. So, hopefully, what's his face? Who's your compadre from South Florida? I can't think of what his name is. Hopefully he gets some people to come up from South Florida. He said he got a lot of people excited, but if they get excited and don't travel to conventions, doesn't do a whole lot of good. All right, I think this is enough shit out of the way. We had a date with Mr. Starbucks on the way home. I just haven't had a whole lot of energy. Except building those models, man, that was exciting. And what was really cool is, I had stuff I hadn't touched in like 25 years. And I was trying to figure out, well, why didn't I finish this? Oh, the wheel broke. Oh, or this other thing broke. And I've kicked every single one of those things square in the ass. And I'll give you an example. Here is an Eschi kit of a Hanomag half-track, one of the million Hanomags that I have. Now I only have like 4, okay? And the reason I stopped is one of the sprocket wheels was popped off. But I got different skills now that I didn't have before. So I drilled it out, put a pin through there, epoxied in place, put it on there. And as soon as I did that, the one on the other side broke off. Well, I'm like, screw you, we'll do you as well. Now you don't have to worry about it anymore. That and we're going to epoxy these things down. So we're going to... I got a lot... Doing conversions and stuff on the 15 millimeter stuff really was a lot easier to deal with this other stuff, for sure. For sure. Okay, I think we got enough of this crap off. Okay. What's this? I'm actually a bit burned out on Pokemon right now. It's become too much like Magic the Gathering. It is. Except younger, stinkier people. I don't dislike kids. I just don't like other people's kids. Because I didn't get to raise them. So good for you for babysitting other people's kids. I know there's adults and stuff that play it. Perfect example. When we go out to eat and we'll bring one of my daughter's friends. I gotta deal with it. I don't eat this. I only eat macaroni. I only eat all that stuff. I'm like, man, you need to go to freaking food boot camp. Unless she what? Nope. Not gonna say it. I actually didn't say it that much. The problem is that I heard somebody, I was watching one of their videos a few months ago, and they kept saying it over and over and over, and we all say the same things over and over, we don't even notice, and it was just apparent, like, okay, I don't want to fall in that trap. And my wife says I'm a mighty morpher, so if I'm around somebody with, a strange accent, or an odd accent, or odd sayings, I pick them up. Because she'll go, who have you been around that says that? So, I'm not allowed to go to places like Boston or New York or Scotland. Oh, but the accent goes away. So, mighty morpher. She's just jealous because she can't do any voices. Okay. But I'm dying to do some other stuff, so we're gonna see some World War II stuff coming up soon. Oh, what's the Spanish word? I have no idea. I have no idea what it is. But it's probably really long, and I was talking to a guy that I was wanting to play DBA online with through. This is a couple years ago, whenever it came out on virtual tabletop or whatever the hell it's called. And he's one of the designers of the game. I'm like, cool. I know how to play DBA, or at least I think I do. And he wanted to learn how to play it on virtual tabletop. I'm like, that's perfect because I like to play early in the morning, and that's which is an unreasonable time to get up for most people. And that becomes like 10 or 11 in the morning, so that's a decent time, right? Well, he runs a nightclub, so it still doesn't work out. So I'm like, well, there goes the ball game. But regardless, what I was getting at is I asked him, I said it'd be cool to play it in Spanish so that people that haven't been exposed to DBA, that, I could play it in Spanish. I have conversational Spanish. I just don't know technical words. And one of the examples I asked him was, how do you say crossbowman in Spanish? And he gave me this word I've never heard before in my life that's this long. And you remember, I speak Spanish. I basically don't have an accent. But the Spanish I've used is just talk to mom and dad about stuff. I don't talk about, what I do for work or crossbowmen or, millimeters of thickness on the glacis of a tank. I don't talk about those technical things in another language. So I have a limited vocabulary. But I'm like, oh, cool, we can do something. And I'm like, oh, no, that's no good. You may think of experimenting with a new basing material. Think of mixing PVA with coffee grounds. That just sounds like it's just going to stain everything. What's wrong with the ready-made stuff, Marty? Come on, man. It's not that expensive. The Vallejo is even better. It's better than the Liquitex replacement. That was a pleasant surprise. All right, Hun time. These Hun bastards. We got 2 of them painted on the last 3 stands. We have 4 guys left to go for the light cavalry, and then we have the command stand. Well, the command stand will just paint itself. These guys, I'm just freaking bored of painting them. Now, it's been a little while. It's been a little while. It's still moist enough. No smell. Whatever they did to make this demoldifying, it worked. Second time's the charm. I mean, not that it bothered me a whole lot. It's not like, oh, you can't do that for health reasons. Nah. It just smelled like England. Like you get books from England. That's what they smell like. Sorry. It's that basement smell. We don't have those here. I wish we did. Noble Shield. Viejo basing stuff is A+. I do like Liquitex resin sand though, or something like that. Maybe it was pumice. Yeah, I used the Liquitex resin and then they stopped producing it. I picked it up on a whim at Michael's and then tried it. I was using PVA and sand at the time, and I liked how it turned out. It saved me time. And then I went to buy it again, and I had to get it on Amazon. And then when I ran out of it again, Amazon no longer carried it. And it's because it's not made from sustainable materials. Yes, we're going to kill the planet because of a little jar that's freaking this big. So this is the natural sand one, which is a softer tech. So I'm like, okay, well, I gotta try something. Some guy that with too much time on his hands, like me sometimes, decided to do a comparison video, which was excellent, between all the Vallejo products and the Liquitex products, and the resin sand and this one matched the most. And this stuff's even better because it dries faster and it has more of a rougher appearance. So you could use them side by side. You can't really tell the difference, but it's got like more little rocks. I like it better. So yeah, this is equivalent. This is the equivalent. It is the rough gray pumice, and I probably need to buy another one soon. Not because I don't want this stuff to run out. I mean, the only reason I jumped off the ship was they stopped making it, you know? They stopped making it. I didn't ask them to stop making it. So, anyhow, this stuff's even better. Because when I started using Liquitex, that didn't exist. So, okay. All right, let's look at these clowns that we have. We're going to paint, of course, the same gladiator guy, gladiator figures. And this guy's going to be a light-colored horse. So let's grab us a light-colored horse. Light-colored horse color. This one right here. Desert yellow, it's not going to end up being that color. That's isn't that a fun sound? Overthinking, mental constipation. That's what mental constipation sounds like. Let's go with this one. So yeah, I basically brought everything back to life. I even built separate link tracks. Not only that, I actually liked it because that was some empowering shit right there. So. I gotta solve problems at work every freaking day. That's a piece of cake. That is a piece of cake. But the plastics are weird. Some plastics behave totally different than others. The Airfix plastics were just almost oily. Really, really strange. Really strange. Okay, there's enough in there. All right, let's see if we can. Overall forest color. That one will work. Oh, we're out of this stuff. Yeah, I think this convention is just too soon on the heels for Historicon. I mean, I just got back, kind of. All right. Black's still alive. Black's still alive. Just finished moving two. So too many things still to do. And I looked at the schedule for Huracan. I wasn't really much that interested in. So it's not worth the drive, to be honest. Yep. It's like one thing on Saturday morning that caught my eye, and that was it. Yeah. Well. I think it's very difficult to go to a convention that you don't know who's playing there, because you might be in an awesome game, but maybe the person who brings the terrain setup, that you don't like it. Like, it doesn't appeal to you. Or, you know, you're in a great game that looks great and there's a bunch of assholes there. You know? Bunch of assholes that don't play fair. Because I'm an asshole. But I play fair. There's some people, I'm sorry, there's some people that are nice and just aren't any fun to play games with. You know? I don't like most gamers. And I'm not afraid to admit it. So, you never know. There's a lot of stuff that ends up getting played that isn't listed for some reason. There's stuff that'll be listed for the longest time and something will happen and it'll cancel at the last minute. Not often, but there's, you know, always a handful of games like that. You know, there might be something you're interested in and then it's in a scale you're not interested in. You know? Or maybe it's the scale you want, but it's a rule set you don't want. So, you know. I just want to go. Main thing is, I'm going to look forward to look around and hang out. Gaming, I do enough gaming. You go to see friends and try new rule sets. I'm going to try a new rule set. So I will not be playing in the. It just so happens that they're running 2 games at the same time that I'm not running stuff that I wanted to try. So I'm going to be trying Blood and Steel. And no, I won't be playing it in 28 millimeter. I'd quit gaming if I had to do 20. If somebody says, held a gun to your head, the only miniatures you can paint going forward is 28 millimeter, I'm like, I give up. I'm not painting anymore. I'm just not going to live long enough to paint them. They just take too damn long. I'll play them. I have no problem playing 28 millimeter. I'm just not going to paint any. I play lots of games with 28 millimeter. So Friday evening I'm playing that, and Saturday morning I'm playing that. If I hadn't tried DBA those many years ago, where would you be now? Well, I wouldn't be doing Ancients and Medievals, that's for sure. I'd be doing World War II stuff more than likely. I'd be working on the stuff that I worked on the last couple of weeks. I'm not going to run that at shows, though. That just might be something solitaire that I'll film on my own. I'm not going to dumb down a World War II set just to run it at conventions to get people to destroy my things. Nah. No. I got to do some solo play at some point. Not really a priority. So I can refamiliarize myself with them. Because it's been decades. Literally 2 decades. Looked at playing 28mm historicals, but I was like, between the cost and the table size, no way. Black Powder, for example, wants a 12-foot table or something stupid like that. I consider 6mm, but 15 seems more popular in general. How does that paint taste? Everything you lick. That brush, I cringe. Well, you don't have to watch. You wouldn't understand. It's what painters do. That's why you don't use enamel paints. Marty, it still tastes better than an IPA. And I'll drink an IPA too, but it doesn't taste like anything. It's freaking water. It tastes better than this coffee, that's for sure. Liquid hate. Autocorrect. So why all you guys have such a problem with autocorrect? Take it off. I don't have it on mine because I end up texting stuff to my mom in another language, and literally I would have to, like, every time I type something, it would want to change it. I'm like, no. I went to school, I read, I don't want autocorrect. Yes, I mistype things because my fingers, and my fingers aren't even that big, but the keyboard's freaking tiny, you know? Big brother, don't tell me how to type things. Technology wants to help you. You want technology to help me? Go to fucking work for me. I got stuff to paint here. Go to work for me. Go deal with the mutton heads over there. Where are the tanks? Exactly, right, Joe? Yeah, I had to put them away. I got to attempt to get these sons of bitches done. I don't have to. I might just say F it. But I got four light cavalry to paint and 1 command stand. But yes, I want to work on the tanks right now. Now, I may get tired of this and work on them anyways. I've been able to salvage them all except one. And the reason I wasn't able to salvage the other one was because I don't know where one of the tracks are. And I could probably commandeer something, rig something, but it's not worth my time. It's already 176 scale, so it's a little on the smaller size. You know, it's the old Airfix Churchill. That's the only one I haven't been able to salvage. So it's pretty empowering to bring all these things back to life. Now, I will be painting them one at a time when it comes to that. I'm not going to be like mass doing them all, you know. But I am going to build them all because any future ones I get will take a lot less building time than these. Steven, there you go. You're retired. I dealt with people like that all my work career. Yep. Yeah. The problem is that they don't fire people like that. I was brought up that if you suck at your job or you don't give a shit, they fire you. Well, for some reason, they don't get rid of people. They must have like dirt on the boss or something like that. People make the same freaking mistakes over and over and over. And I don't even work in government. I can only imagine how bad that would be. I had to go to the Department of Transportation for the state of Florida. Last week before, to get tags because we'd paid for them 3 weeks ago and they hadn't issued them. They said they received the check and hadn't sent the tags and literally were going to shut down the whole fleet. So after they called them on, I'm like, oh yeah, we'll get them out there to you. I'm like, well, I don't have time to do it. I can come pick them up. I go to pick up I went in that office and picked them up. And no wonder the people that work for government don't give a shit. Because, man, that environment sucked. That was like a cross between a homeless shelter, Social Security office, and a daycare. There was even kids crying and stuff. I'm like, I'd rather be unemployed than work in an environment like that. Tuesday Night Hobbies. That's right. I didn't put painting because I reserved a right to switch gears. You switch between 15mm DBA, 3mm modern armor, and 1/6000 World War II ships all the time. That's all I would do was warships of 2400 scale. I sold them all except like 2 that looked good. And if I got back into it, I'd go to 6000s. That way you have the ships look more in scale with the game, but I can't be into everything. You guys still doing 15mm DBA? I know you guys do 2.2 over there in Kansas, but you guys still play a fair amount of that? Who was running that? Sanderson? Over in that group? I'm gonna have trouble sleeping if I'm gonna drink all that coffee. Oh well. Girls aren't home. It's gonna be a late one. I think I'm gonna be up late doing who knows what. I may not be painting the whole time, but although it's funny. Is this all the way down? There we go. When I paint a long time, what gets tired is my ass. I have to get up from time to time because I'm not moving a whole lot in the chair. When I'm doing the models, when I'm doing one of my model extravaganza like this weekend, I did a 7-hour one and a 9-hour one. It was my neck. It was my neck and my upper shoulders that was stiff. This isn't that close to it, is it? No. Okay, good. Oh, I know the white's dead. White's always the first to die. But getting back into World War II, man, so many things I held in really high regard are gone. Out of business. Out of business. First one I found out about, battlefield miniatures. Gone. History. The sculptor's doing some other stuff on the side for somebody else. And I'm talking strictly only 20 millimeter scale. Battlefield miniatures. Gone. Cromwell models, which I only have one of. That tiger one with a Zimmer. Gorgeous. Gorgeous stuff. It looks better than the real one. And it's basically one piece. Right? It has a separate turret. That's it. Gone. They went out of business like 7 or 8 years ago or whatever. Probably got tired dealing with gamers. Gone. Who else? MMS. I have some of their metal kits that I have to do some sleuthing to try to put together. All metal kits. Ah, shit, I said it. I'm not going to keep track today. All metal models that you have to epoxy or super glue together. Beautiful detail, crisp, out of business. So, yeah, it never occurred to me that I could have miniatures that aren't around anymore. I don't mean that because I need to get more of that stuff. I got enough stuff to play with, you know. But now one thing they added is Plastic Soldier Company. Plastic Soldier Company makes all that 1/72 scale armor and stuff. That's very few parts, so you can spend your time painting it, not building it. Now, I didn't mind building it, but I tell you what, there's some peace of mind knowing that if I screw up and I don't like how I painted it, I didn't waste all that time building it also. You know, then I could just throw money at the problem. Just buy another, spend another $10, you can get another tank kind of thing. Not like, oh shit, those 6 or 7 hours I spent putting all the separate link track or the shirts in on that Panzer IV are now out the window. You know, so there's some peace of mind in that. But I didn't actually mind putting them together. It was therapeutic in a way. Just the way some people don't mind putting a puzzle together. Yes, we get together every other Monday, play 15 DBA at Mike Sanderson's house. Okay. Cool. All right, let's add a little bit of white. Wanted to get into Flames of War for World War II, but they're basically the Games Workshop for World War II. Wanted to play World War II, not 40K, with a World War II mod. Are they the Games Workshop of World War II, or is Bolt Action the Games Workshop of World War II? Or are they both the Games Workshop of World War II? Yeah, I don't want to pay... I don't want to play British versus Americans and stuff like that. I'm not going to play another tournament game. This DBA is the only tournament game I'm going to play. I'm just... not that interested. You know, and I haven't had any bad tournament experiences. It's got nothing to do with that. I'm just... you know... I want to play games that focus more on learning about what really happened. You know, experience the problems that the people had in the battle. Not like, well, we got to do it for this way for play balance. Well, sometimes things aren't play balance. So play the freaking game twice. Switch sides, right? Both Flames of War, like Won't have a tank if they don't make a model for it, whether or not it existed. Like, yep. Yep. They're trying to sell their miniatures. It's just, I wasn't brought up that way. In 2 weeks, the Recruits Convention takes place in Lee's Summit, Missouri. DBA tournaments on Friday evening and Saturday afternoon. Most likely we will have 6 to 8 gamers showing up. Okay, that's about what we get. That's good. Some people are just nomadic. Some people just, they get into something. You know, Historicon. Everybody was playing Art de la Guerre. We'll see in 4 years if they're playing that. Honestly, I didn't want to. There's so many people. It's so noisy over there. Okay, this guy needs a rug to ride on. We'll do this one in gray. Grayish. Gray-like. He was brought up on Warhammer, so the way historical games is totally different, not having one set of rules figures, but tons of both. I've never played Warhammer or anything. That's not true. There's a guy that very late in life, say 8 years ago, I played Warhammer Quest for the first time and liked it, but I don't. Their system of operation doesn't work with me. Get you to buy all this stuff. I take forever to paint it, and then before I'm done, oh yeah, we don't support that anymore. So, Art de la Guerre looked interesting. So did Triumph, lesser extent Mortem Gloria, but the cards, weird dice didn't appeal. Mortem et Gloriam looks interesting. Triumph is just another version of DBA, whether or not they want to admit it or not. It has some cool stuff, but it has some things that don't sit well with me. Mainly how they went about it. But hey, they can do that. Nobody in Florida wanted to play it, so it doesn't really matter. And Triumph had more people playing than DBA because the core people of running stuff, instead of it being 3 of us, there was like 7 of them. So if you take the people out that are running it, they really didn't have much of a showing either. You know, people move from stuff to stuff. You know, I know one person that gets into something and then they buy all in it and then they buy out of it and then they go into something else and they move it and I guess if you buy your stuff already pre-painted and you can get your money back, no harm, no foul. I'm not spending these thousands of hours painting this stuff and then having some nerd burglar that runs a freaking game store that doesn't wear deodorant say, "Nah, we're not going to make this shit no more." Nope, not good. I'm not falling for that. You know, the day I don't play DBA, I'll use these figures in some other rule set that's DBA-like. You know, it's not on the market yet, but you know, maybe. I'm not going to be like, well, we'll keep these in your bookcase and not do anything with them in my case there. Like, nah. Triumph is mainly played in the Chicago area and Maryland. Yeah, so European DBA is still the way, no matter. Well, there's no reason to learn something else. It's not going to be any better. You just, longevity, I'm not worried about it. I mean, you know, you do what you do. And if people come and play it, they'll come and play it. And if not, then they'll go do something else. But it's not perfect. It's, in my opinion, better than anything that's out there right now. And it has a good global following. There may not be a lot of players in the U.S., but you can get a lot of like, it's bigger in England. So, if you need, gaming is one thing, okay? But how much of the time of playing a game do you spend gaming it? And how much of it do you spend painting your figures and staying motivated to build more armies? That's most of it. So it's more important, I think, for it to have a vibrant world community where you can say, hey, look, this is what I worked on now, and you can post pictures and keep each other like motivated to build more things for it, more than, hey, nobody in my area wants to play, because it's difficult to find gamers. And if you're in an area where they play Art de la Guerre, you pretty much have to play Art de la Guerre or start everything off on your own. But it's not perfect, but it works. It's worked. There's the day's Nerd Burglar reference. That's right. The small table and fast play is great to me. Triumph being better is a matter of opinion. Well, I won't play it because nobody in the area is, and it's basically DBA without it's DBA modified in their own way without referencing DBA and without giving the author any credit, and they charge for it. So that alone is why I'm not going to play it. So it's the charging part that's really like disturbing. So I just wouldn't do shit like that. And I know the guys. I don't know why the hell they want to. I don't know why the hell they charge for the rules. I really don't know why they charge for the rules. So I actually had every intention of playing their game when I went to Historicon because that's their home turf, and we'd play DBA at home. And we did that for a couple years. And 2 years in a fucking row, they changed their rule set. So it was like, okay, work for our convention. Okay, play DBA 3.0. Play DBA 3.0. Historicon's coming up. Okay, switch to Triumph. Learn how to play their rules, get acclimated. Because you don't want to go up there and not know what you're doing. It's not about winning. It's you don't want to go in there like a freaking blind person. Like you don't know what you're doing. That's not very empowering. So we started like 2 months before, and we'd switch over to play Triumph. And then one year, they made a significant change 1 week before Historicon came up. Like, all right, we figure out, still muddled through it, went away, okay. Then, same thing happened the next year. And then they pulled the same stunt again. Now, it may not be on purpose. It may just be coincidence, whatever. But I'm like, and then have to come back, relearn the rule set, telling people things wrong in 3.0 because I still got Triumph on the mind. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. So, and that's about the time when they're charging for the rule set. I'm like, it just isn't worth it. It just isn't worth it. So. When you're trying to have fun, it becomes too much work. I'm not getting paid enough for this for it to be too much work. And there's some cool things about the game, but there's some things that DBA 3.0 is better at it than that. So it ends up being kind of a wash for the most part. Yeah, the rules are explained better, but I already know these. So I have to unlearn these and learn them, and it's just, I can't do both of them. They're too similar to each other. I've played both Triumph and DBA. I agree with Tony. It's a lot like DBA. Yep. It's curious how Warrior came about. I understand it's a straight-up copy of WRG Ancients, but nobody seems to mind. Maybe they licensed it or credited Phil in the book. I believe they bought the rights for it, is what I've heard. I did my Renaissance thing, right? A couple of years ago. Well, it's actually been more than a couple of years ago. First of all, it's free. You give credit to the people whose credit is due, and that's it. The author's never said, you shouldn't make those rules like that. Not that Phil talks that way, but I can't do that kind of an accent with an English one together. I'm only so talented, okay? Because I'm not going to charge for it. And you got to give the guy credit. And, it's just too many egos, Too many egos. What's so wrong with giving some guy credit who deserves a credit? Maybe if Phil was a communist, okay? Maybe if he was a freaking red communist, I maybe wouldn't give him credit for it because he's a red communist. But he's a nice guy. And you just got to be honest with yourself. If he hadn't come up with it, we wouldn't be playing this. He could do a lot better job of laying the rule book out so we're not all going crazy. I feel less dirty considering buying a copy now. Yeah, that's what I heard, okay? But Art de la Guerre, I pulled it out. I was going to buy it, and somebody sent me an illegal copy of Art de la Guerre. And I'm like, okay, well, cool. I'll check this out, and I'll still buy the rule book. I go through there, and Art de la Guerre has this thing about special generals. Like DBMM has, right? And they're exactly the same. There may be a few exceptions, but they're like guys that are the same in DBMM or in Art de la Guerre. So the French guy literally lifted Phil's ideas and put them in there and then charges for them. I'm like, and then doesn't mention, hey, thanks, Phil, for getting this ball rolling. We made some modifications here to kind of push this game in this other direction. No, the guy never existed. He got buried, What's the common terminology for that? You got revisionist. It's woke. Well, we can't have any talk of Phil Barker. How about if you take his work and change it, don't charge for it? Because it's not like you're going to get rich. It's not like you're going to make any money, okay? It's war game rules. Nobody makes any money, okay? It's just to keep people excited about this period and, try to make it, play better or what have you. I'm just not a fan of people that sell their... Sell their souls a little too strong, but do whatever it is for the money. And I'm a capitalist, but there's just some things you can't buy. You shouldn't be able to buy some things. Oh well. Play what you like. Play what you like. Mr. Doug, hi everyone. Hey, could these companies sue each other over copyright infringement? I don't know. But I am anti-suing. I think we need to go back to duels because when you sue people, only the lawyers get rich and they get enough money from all of us. So I'm anti-lawyer. Sorry. I'm sure there's good ones out there, but I haven't encountered any. I wouldn't be a good lawyer. I'd be like, oh, I'm going to defend you? Sorry, you're guilty as shit. You're going to burn in hell. Bye. Beware, warrior like the earlier WRG 6 take much larger armies to play in a battle. The rules are much more complicated. Yeah, I don't want anybody to sue anybody anymore. We need to go back to, fighting each other in the parking lot and pistol duels. That sounds like a lot more fun. I hear anything on the news that involves a lawsuit, I turn it off. I'm tired of it. And that's been for years. They write all this shit in ways that none of us can understand. Be watching a program, here comes a commercial for ask your doctor about such and such. It doesn't even tell you what it cures, right? And then at the end there's this disclaimer. So then, you know, when your dick falls off, you can't sue anybody because, oh no, we set it down there and there in the mumble thing. That's just being dishonest. We need more honesty. We need more honesty. That's how I live my life. Why can't everybody else live that same way? Cancel. That's what it is. Phil's been canceled. That's what that modern nomenclature, ridiculous nomenclature. The cancel culture on Phil Barker. Yeah, what kind of shit is that? The guy's worked his whole life doing that, and he's a nice guy. I'm sure he might be like, you know, steadfast in certain things. I am. You know? I gotta watch that last episode of the. Actually, it's 2 episodes now, that Little Wars thing, but I lost interest in it. As good as their programming is, I just lost interest in that, whatever that thing is that they're doing on the Paris campaign. The fast talk is all to cover the legal requirements of the product. Yeah, it's bullshit. It's dishonorable. Nicholas Wong, merely having an open mind is nothing. The object of opening the mind, as of opening the mouth, is to shut it again on something solid. All right, we need a drink after that. Don't make me get the whiskey out. Vodka. Speaking of lawyers winning, my aunt's will, that's in Richmond, Virginia, is with some woman and she refuses to take it to the court, so I have to hire a lawyer to take it to the court for her. God, maybe we all need to have friends in the mob. There was no DBA in Florida until I ran it at a show. That's right. It's your fault. Armati was popular here, but had dried out. DBA fits my laid-back gaming style as a social activity. So when I'm pulling my hair out on why the guys decide to use a city and don't know the frickin' rules to it, and I have to look it up, I'm blaming Marty for it. Let's go to that next job. I'm going to castrate people that use rules and they don't know what they are. I'm going to put this city here. What's it do? Well, don't fucking put the city down if you don't know what it does. I've worked 12 hours and it's 90 frickin' degrees out and it's 10 o'clock at night. Why do I got to look it up? Yes, it's all Marty's fault. See, you got to give people credit where credit's due. And it's not perfect. I actually showed up to play Armati. And I think that was the first time nobody showed up to play Armati. Oh well. There's things I like about Armati, but I don't think I would have liked it better. I like that you don't have to do the stupid conforming, but I don't like that, units can hardly wheel. If you set up, you have to set up with a blind. If you set up wrong, you're screwed. As a historical noob, the plethora of rules are a blessing and a curse. Mind you, I sat here in the UK having to organize this. This isn't like I can even go do it for her. Scott and his frickin' rivers. Well, we can add Scott and his frickin' rivers and Mitch and his goddamn cities. I've got somebody decided on Fanaticus, I think is where it is. They put these cheat sheets, and I got them somewhere. I need to print them out and bring them to the show because they did a really good job with them, and they clear a lot of that stuff up that you don't use very often. I actually don't mind the rivers. They're going to make the game go too long, and then you're going to make everybody wait until the next game. It's not that they don't make the game interesting. Okay, I think we are good with that because he's not the same as that one. It's similar but not the same as that one. We need to add a little bit of lightener here to this stuff. But I'm loving looking at World War II again. Because since I stopped looking at World War II, lots of things have happened. The Soviet Union fell. It had already fallen, but we have a lot of access to their archives. Even though they're probably, corrupted as well, at least it's another viewpoint. But I found out something interesting since I've been playing that Armored Commander, and I'm wondering, well, what the hell happened? Why what's the deal with the Sherman tanks and why I didn't get to use one in Operation Torch? So apparently what happened is there was, and I'm just paraphrasing, so if I get the exact details wrong, you can look it up yourself. Check all your sources, right? Cross-check all your sources. The Shermans, the M4A1 Shermans that were en route to North Africa ended up sinking or something like that. They were on a boat that sank. And so that's why they had to use the Lees, and they gave there was a shipment of Shermans that were going to Britain, and this would have been like in late. I mean, they already had some, but they probably needed to get a few more. So instead of mixing the Lees in with them, they just gave them the Shermans from the First Armored Division. So the First Armored Division ended up using Lees. Instead, it's interesting. I didn't know anything about it, and I'm wanting to find out. Okay, what ship were they on when they went down? Like, okay, what'd they go? Can you do that as a naval battle? Would be an Atlantis scenario work with both armies being littoral and all four board edges being waterways. I guess, but you'd have to create some extra stuff. Did you add a bit of color to your White Huns since they were more in contact with India? You haven't seen what my guys look like? Not for these basic guys, because the light cav is going to be used for all the Huns. They're going to be used for Attila's guys, the Xiongnu, these guys, and there might even be a couple of other armies that they appear in. But the light horse, no. The cavalry command, there'll be a White Hun commander that is just the White Hun guy. It's not going to be Attila. And then Xiongnu will have a different commander with a different flag. I found a flag for the Xiongnu, so I'm like, I'm doing a separate flag for them. And of course, the Heffalump isn't shared by anybody. But, these are poor folks. They basically aren't going to have any colorful clothing unless they rip it off somebody, So a couple of these guys do have a red pair of pants or something like that. And or a green pair of pants, and or a red shirt, Do I have a guy with a red shirt yet? Or does this guy just get volunteered for that? No, they're not very colorful. On purpose. On purpose. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, red but dirty. These guys didn't like the wash. Yeah, I already got a guy with a red shirt. All right, this guy's going to have a green shirt. But it's not going to be doing green. Yes, it's an actual color. Doing. Only one G. Green. Ooh. Russian green, why not? Russian uniform. Not very green. You could have something bright. You don't wash that thing, it's going to get... You don't see homeless people with a bunch of bright clothing. Unless they just got it. Unless homeless people in the Dark Ages. That's why it's called the Dark Ages. Everything's dark. Why are their clothing dark? Coke time. I'll be right back. Huns would have skin. Yes, I prefer my Huns with skin. Or linen clothing. So naturally they would be plain in color. Absolutely. If they had money, they wouldn't be raiding everybody else. And there's no information on these guys at all. None. None as in a convent. So you got to put your own little spin on it. This one is too big. Let's put this away. That one's all cattywampus. This is the facial one. Yep. We'll need him in a second. Nope. This one. No, they all suck. Okay. I have to order some from Amazon. Now that I find out who the people that make brushes not from China are. I guess I should get rid of some of these if I'm not going to use them. There we go. There we go. That's way awful close to the water thing. Let's get these things away from that. Let's do the last bit. And maybe we'll do some Armored Commander. Late. Not now. I got energy to do this. We'll do this. Even getting one guy done is a step in the right direction. I just don't want to work on these bastards after the convention's over. I want these guys to be done. But yeah, I was expecting the Pyrrhus thing to be a lot more interesting than it was. First of all, I like just about anything Pyrrhus related, and Little Wars stuff is really good, but I just kind of lost interest in what they were doing. I actually looked at their rule set. It was at Historicon, whatever it's called, Age of Hannibal or whatever. Yeah, it doesn't work. That has major conforming things. I went right to that. I'm like, okay, how do they handle conforming? Ooh, not good. You have some other cool stuff like traits for leaders and shit like that. That's really interesting, but you can only hit people. It's almost like playing it on a grid. I'm like, no, that's too artificial. Why would I want to play a rule set that's only, you know, that time period though? Because it's like, okay, I want to do medievals. Oh, you can't use the same arm. You can't use the same mechanics. I'm like, well, that's not for me. You know, because if I have to choose between medieval or ancients, I'm doing medieval. Ancients don't have any heraldry. I'm a heraldry painter. Maybe if I had shitty heraldry, I'd be like, oh man, we need to forget about heraldry. We'll do ancient stuff. I gotta look for that. Crappiest heraldry ever. They have that, like, worst, like, sports mascots, right? They have those. What's worst heraldry? You know? Like a guy blowing a horn out of his ass or something like that. Put that on a shield. Oh, man. One more level up. One more level up. give this guy some yellow like pants. Yeah, not too bright, but yellow like. 10 viewers. I guess people like painting more than, well, it is earlier than normal, so. Got some Europeans out there, probably. I shouldn't call them Europeans. I should call ancestral people. They may not be everybody else's ancestors, but Europeans. What color is this? I think it's green ochre. Which is similar to almost a German armor dark yellow. Everybody's got an opinion on one of those, though. I see the colors they suggest painting, like, whoa, that's way too green. So sometimes it's a balance between what's real and what your interpretation of real is. So. Artistic license. Yeah, this is picking up something on it. The paint is gooping. Let's get the degooper. Where's that hiding over here? Let me check one thing. What the hell is this all about? Nope. Don't care about that. Okay. Good. I should cancel my subscription to that guy. There's a guy that does really good, like, car reviews, but I'm not looking to get any cars for another couple years, so he does a phenomenal job, but I keep getting notifications from them. Hey, I got something else. Hey, I got something else. Like, hey, I got something else. Probably not going to watch anything in earnest from them for a couple years. Hopefully longer. I'm really not looking forward to what the situation with that is. It was upside down and messed up last year. Or was it the year before? Last year, I think. I can only imagine what it's going to be next time. Let's get a refill on this stuff. Hair's a little crazy with the nothing in it. So yeah, lots of companies out of business. Probably just people got older, just didn't want to continue it anymore. I don't blame them. Cromwell models, man, their stuff is freaking phenomenally gorgeous. Phenomenally gorgeous. I only have one of their things. Oh well. But we're going to paint all our Shermans up first. Because I don't think they're very cool. Which is exactly why I'm going to make them cool. And give them personality, and they're going to have nicknames too. Appropriate nicknames. So. I do need to find a Sherman tank that has a driver or an assistant driver hatch capable to open, because I've got some half figures that look really cool, but they're obviously they're a driver or an assistant driver from the positioning of them. It's just a little head popping out. They got little goggles and stuff. Honestly thought I'd have a harder time with a Jagdpanzer campaign on on Armored Commander, but gotten out of some pickles. I'm still waiting for one of those typhoons to end this guy's day. Okay. We're good with that. Yeah, sometimes this paint just gums up a little bit. You just got to give it a little cleaning. I don't know if it's using this. It almost seems like it didn't start happening until I used that, but that's thinner. So you would think it would happen less often, but that's working a hell of a lot better than water to keep the consistency going. We're going to have dark brown shoes on this dude. Okay, it's still only 7. That's good. If I get this guy done, that leaves 3. I can do the command over the weekend easily. Or 3 guys over the weekend. I could do 3 guys over the weekend. I just don't want to kill myself if I don't have to. This isn't really what I wanted to do today. But it's either do it now or there's going to be less of a chance to do it another time. What do I have left to put together? Probably just the MMS stuff. They're in a shambles too. I got 4 things from MMS. And hopefully I'm not missing some parts. If I am, I'm just going to wing it. Just do the best I can with it. They are war game models first and foremost. One thing I haven't played in a long time is Rule the Tanks. Although I think Armored Commander is a lot more fun than to get your juices going than World of Tanks. World of Tanks, just playing a multiplayer game, don't talk to anybody. The repetitive board over and over and over again is just like, man, I don't want to play this anymore. Himmelsdorf. That's the name of that stupid town that I couldn't stand anymore. We were talking about the other day, and I'm like, I can't stand this one city map. I don't ever want to play it again. Himmelsdorf. Hate that map. The hell are tanks even doing in there? No infantry. A lot of this stuff just isn't geared for, World War II nuts like me. They had this game on the Oculus, the virtual reality thing. They have a World War One flight simulator on there. It's pretty good, and then they made a World War II one as well. It's only for the Pacific, but hey, it's World War II. So as soon as they released it, I'm like, cool. I'll be able to talk to folks about World War II. Those guys ain't got a freaking clue what they don't know jack about it. They're just gamers, So I thought it was cool as I got to fly a P-40. Probably my favorite U.S. aircraft of World War II. Didn't say it was the best one. This is my favorite one. I have favorite things that aren't the best things, See, I'm not a win-at-all-cost person. First model I ever built was a P-40. Why? Because it's got a freaking tiger shot mouth on it. That's freaking cool. And it may not have been the best aircraft of World War II, but it was plenty good in lots of places it was at. Because there were some Japanese aircraft that were dogs. Just horrible dogs. And I'm not talking about the Zeros. Himmelsdorf. Wasn't that the name of the jerk sergeant in All's Quiet on the Western Front? I don't know. But I'm excited about watching the new one. The new one looks cool. And welcome, Skylab. The new one that's coming out on Netflix on October 28th. Yeah. I want to see that. I haven't seen 1917 either. So I'm going to watch 1917 first and then roll right into that one. Kind of annoying that both of them are going to be from one vantage point, but I tried to pick up watching Man in the High Castle again. It just doesn't speak to me. It just seems hokey. It's like not even because I'm like I started watching it and I watched like one episode 5 years ago or 6 years or 7 years ago, whenever it came out. And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna give it another shot because it might have some cool inspirational type stuff on it, but it's 1962. I thought it was like 1947 or something like that. No, it's like supposed to take place like way after it. Like, very excited for a new World War I film. Yep, I started earlier tonight. Nordic, it's Himmelsdorf is the name of that stupid town on World of Tanks. I do not want to play on that map anymore ever again. Hate that map. I'm doing great. I started early. I drank 32 ounces of Black Death, also known as Starbucks coffee. The girls are gone all night. It's going to be a late one. We may end with Armored Commander, but I'll try to get some painting done here, even though I really want to work on tanks. Mainly because the tanks are really... I really like it because this is the first time I've ever worked on models without my contacts in. So I'm like really enjoying all the intricacies. Not that I needed it before. More than 5 years ago, I could have my contacts in and just do everything in 20/20 vision. I can't do that anymore because I don't have 20/20 vision. I'm, blind up close, which is really weird for somebody who's been nearsighted their whole time. So you either wear readers, which doesn't work so well, or you just take your contacts out and you got built-in magnification. Himmeltoss was the sergeant's name. Wow. That the guy that was played by Ernest Borgnine? I can't buy him in a... I've never seen the first one. I've never seen the first All Quiet on the Western Front. I saw the one with Ernest Borgnine and John Boy in it once. And I just can't buy John Boy in anything other than that. And I didn't even watch the Waltons. It's funny because when the Waltons were on, I never watched it. And there was another show that I would never watch during that same time that it was just like dreary and it's old Little House on the Prairie. And both of those things, like, why would anyone watch either one of those two shows? They just take place they just don't appeal to me. They're just like, oh gosh, can I just go to work at the salt mines instead? You know? Eric Gray, welcome. You're nearsighted and need reading glasses to read from afar and watch TV. You're nearsighted, okay. I've always been nearsighted. And need reading glasses to read from afar and watch TV. Well, yeah, I mean, I've got to watch TV. I put on contacts. I can drive and stuff. That was made for TV, 1979. Fantastic movie. Ernest Borgnine played a private who scrounged for stuff. I just can't buy him as a German. He's less believable. He is less believable than... Here we go again. We're going to talk about actors, and I don't remember these people's names. I don't recall them. I could picture him. Ernest Borgnine as a German is even less believable than the guy who played Hannibal on A-Team as a German pilot. Can't think of what his name is. I don't think about him all day long. I don't have wet dreams about these actors. The actor who played Bilbo Baggins in the Lord of the Rings movies played Himmeltoss. Okay. You'd think he was Polish. Yeah, some people just aren't. Good cast, in my opinion. So who plays the main guy? I just saw it once. Is the same guy that plays the main German guy in the new one that's coming out the same guy who played the Red Baron in the Red Baron movie recently? Is he the same guy? Like they have like a limited amount of people that speak English that are German actors. Ian Holm, yeah, the guy from Alien, right? The cyborg. The character Borgnine playing was Polish-German. Okay. Does that make him more believable? And I like Ernest Borgnine, but just, you know. I guess he wasn't very believable as Ragnar either, but that was an older movie. Okay, time to do a facial. Do him in the face. Ian Holm, that's right, the robot from Alien. Starts spitting out all that shit. And doesn't he play Napoleon in something else? I don't know. I started watching Saints and Soldiers. I'm like halfway through it. I remember seeing it. I just don't remember anything about it. It's okay. It's kind of underwhelming that they're all trying to share one rifle with 4 rounds in it. But it's all Nordic's fault for recommending what was that called? The Lost Battle or whatever the hell it called? The Forgotten Battle. And Mitch that had me watch 1944. $1944 wasn't bad. Stupid title. Stupid generic title. It's almost like a 20 questions. All right, I'm going to give you the name of a title. You tell me what it's about. Okay, the title's called 1944. It's about landing in Normandy. No. Operation. It's about Tarawa. No. No, Tarawa's 43. Right? It's about taking the Philippines. Nope. Is it sinking the Tirpitz? Nope. What about the destruction of Army Group Center? Nope. Did I use the Q-tip trick mentioned for your tank? I'm not there yet, but I will be using that. And if it sucks, it's going to be your fault. But if it's awesome, I'm going to make some new medals to pin on you. Yeah, and this is the guy we're going to try it on. Because this is a dog anyways. This is the one we're going to try on it first. This piece of shit. Look at this bouncy bastard. Yeah. Yep, this definitely can use some squishing. It's got a ways to go down here. Yep. But this bastard, I stopped building it because this sprocket wheel broke. So I put a pin through it. And then in putting that one and fixing it, the one on the other side broke. So I put a pin through it too. Break now, you Nazi bastard. Anyhow, and I put a machine gun on it, and there's the pintle mount for the one. So supposedly, this 251s had a driver and a machine gunner. And when they carried the squad in here, the squad put their integral MG34, if it was earlier, or 42 later on the pintle mount. And when they dismounted, they took it with them. So technically, if the squad's not in there, there shouldn't be one there, unless everybody got hosed and decided to put another one on there. Because there's only two guys, a driver and a machine gunner. So that's why it's a 10-man squad, full complement, and then a driver and a machine gunner. So I guess if they all dismount, it could technically be a 12-man squad, but then nobody's minding the Hanamag. But that's the kind of stuff that I couldn't deal with before. But now, with all of the stuff that I've overcome, and I've got tools I never had before. I've got, when I was doing this stuff before, I was like dirt poor, I didn't have drill bits. I didn't have access to T-pins that I can cut and put on there, or epoxy that worked, or, and it's like, it's either sink or swim. Fix it, or it's going in the garbage can. Well, I don't want to throw it away, so let's fix it. It's empowering to do all this shit, Tarawa, now there is a movie that needs to be made. You have a big enough chest for more medals, yeah. Those going to be used for gaming? Absolutely, Eric. Well, that's the intention. That's the intention. They may not get used for gaming, but they will be mounted. In the modern fashion, we're going to pull out some of Nordic's favorite people, also known as the commie bastards. That's what I like, the Nazi bastards and the commie bastards killing each other. Like, which bad guy do you want to be? Yes. These are all BP cast models that are just awful. They're just absolutely awful. They had lots of bubbles and stuff, and they turned out... This video doesn't really do them justice. I'm extremely happy with them. So, doing them in a modern way, I've got all these shims from work that are plastic, so I rounded off the corners and we sanded them so they look civilized. I've got magnetic sheeting. They don't weigh anything because they're all resin. And they just, I do have decals for the decals, and I put those on there. I'm not opposed to painting stuff like your mother wears combat boots or whatever these guys went on there. Death to the fascist bastards. That's actually a real saying. But these guys are all BP cast, and I've had them for like 20 years or something, and I worked on them last year. I put them together, and, But I don't want to go ultra realistic because I do want them to have a little bit of a cartoony look. Kind of like the figures kind of have a little bit of a cartoony look. They just do, the way they're cast and everything. But, we added a machine gun on there. It didn't have, but I'm not going to worry about filling in every one of these bubbles. Ain't got time for that. These guys don't even had the suspension on here was just non-existent. You know, I got a box that's painted in the same style that I paint the figures. You know, that's what I want them to look like. Is I want them to look like a comic book. I keep saying cartoon. I mean a comic book. So that's how all these other things will be. So, and the fact that I know that I'm going to put them on a base means that some of these things that are flimsy are going to be a lot less flimsy when you put them on a base. But I want to build them all, and then we're like, okay, well, let's work on this one, you know, what have you. So that's a great time to be a model builder. We have so many readily available tools that older people didn't. Yeah. Yeah, and we have the internet to share ideas from each other. Like, man, that's really cool. How did you do that? Well, I did this, that, or the other. Oh, that's pretty neat. So I've got some model building stuff. And I like a little bit of a base, not some huge thing. You know, do I have a set of rules in mind? Oh, hell yeah. And they're out of print, of course, because I've messed with them for 20 years. The face of battle. So it may be something I just do solo. Maybe nobody will have the patience for it. I don't care. But the end all is not to play the game. It's to get these things painted and do some World War II stuff. So if I end up not playing it, it's okay. You know, I don't want these for the only purpose them being as display models because, you know, that's just not enough of a motivation for me. Okay, let's put the commie bastards away. I do like the Eastern Front a lot. I mean, it's horrible, but, you know. Why do you like war stuff so much? Because I don't watch horror movies. That's why. I'd play that with me. Yeah, I got to figure out how to. I remember it being. I looked through the rules about a week ago, and I'm like, I need a flow chart. It's not difficult. It's not counterintuitive, and it's not abstract. Okay, that's the two things that kill me. Counterintuitive shit, like Advanced Squad Leader. Advanced Squad Leader is complicated as shit, but it's not counterintuitive. The only thing I would say that's abstract about Advanced Squad Leader is that it uses a 2d6 system. You know, the bell curve one, where you're going to roll sevens more often than anything else. Other than that, it's pretty cut and dry. I don't care for bell curve systems like BattleTech and stuff like that. They're you just have to take that into effect. You know, you can't just, if you want to add rules for something, you can't just add a +1 because it depends. It could be a +1 could be worth a lot more at different times. So, yeah, projects are most fun to me. From one point of view, war movies are horror movies. Yep. War is hell on earth. Yep. Yeah, we don't glorify it here. It's just it happened and it's fun. Like I said, I the other day I was trying to, when I did that Armored Commander, and I'm like, okay, why can't I play a Sherman? Because you can't play a Sherman in Operation Torch in that game. Why can't I play a Sherman? Because there were some Shermans that were en route to the British, and the ship sunk. So the U.S. 1st Armored Division gave them all the Shermans. This is the short version of it. I forget exactly where the wording is, and I don't remember where the hell I saw it. It was cool. It's cool to learn about stuff that I didn't know before. So they gave all of those M4A1s to the British, and the 1st Armored Division went all Lees. So it was interesting. You play a lot of ASL. I sold all my stuff. I did. I played like 60 games of it. Do the starter kits, yeah. I don't know what it's like without playing Squad Leader before. I can tell you that Squad Leader sucks compared to ASL. It does. Just because it has so much more detail. But if ASL hadn't come out, I'd think a lot more of Squad Leader. But I played lots of Squad Leader before, and the only thing bad I have to say about ASL now I wouldn't want to play it again or get back into it because the way the phases of the fire phases are structured, it's too structured for me. I prefer the way Lock and Load Tactical does it, in that, okay, you get a move, now I get a move, and what you do with that move could be a fire, it could be an offensive move. You could decide to pass. It's a little bit more fluid. It still has a little bit. You still have too much self control in it. This skirmish game's a lot more chaos. On who gets to go next, kind of thing. The modules are hardly priced. Yeah, they used to. Yeah, I'd always wanted to play like the big Stalingrad one or something like that. I just wish the phases weren't so damn structured. Like, okay, prep five. And here's what I don't like about it. It's too predictable, and it's too much for like the other guys not active. Like, for instance, let's say I take an action, right? And I know the next action my opponent's going to do it. He sticks around because my action could be over really quick, and then it's his turn. So it's a lot more back and forth. It's kind of like DBA is. Okay, it's not like, all right, well, call me in 20 minutes when you're done moving. That's not very interactive, That's not very interactive. Face of battle, if you do individual figure activation, you don't know who's going to go. Most troops have 2 activations per round. So, you got every figure in there, or every soldier has 2 chances they can activate per round. They could go twice in a row. It's unlikely, Obviously, the less figures are on the table, the more likely it is to happen. But it's unlikely, but it kind of keeps both people interested in, like, I wonder what's going to happen next. Oh, what's going to happen? You don't want to miss anything. So, Red Barricades module is all Stalingrad and really fun. Never got a chance to play it. I've seen the board. It's Now, I'm not a huge... I like the Eastern Front a lot. I am not a huge Stalingrad person. That's not what interests me a whole lot. It's a little too much city fighting for me. Now, I love Wintergewitter stuff, okay, which is the relief to Stalingrad. I like that stuff. And as a matter of fact, I actually bought even though I have no intention of playing Chain of Command. The problem with Chain of Command is the infantry, again, is too much like, some guy dies that isn't the leader of the machine gunner. Just pick a guy. Well, come on, man. That's hokey. I spent a lot of time painting these guys specifically a certain way so that they all have personalities. I want them to all, have their moment of glory if it comes over to them. So I don't like Chain of Command for that, and it seems a little too gamey for me. But I did purchase their Wintergewitter. I forget what it's called. But it's their Wintergewitter module with scenarios just for inspiration. Probably not. It's not very useful, but what the hell, You're a Western Desert guy. I love the Western Desert. I love the Western Desert. Western Desert's cool. The Western Desert. The problem with the Western Desert is you got to find stuff that the infantry matters, because it just turns into a tank fest. Now, the cool thing about the tank fest is both sides are really interesting. The Afrika Korps. Who the hell doesn't like the Afrika Korps? I mean, yes, there were Nazis, whatever. But, they have ad hoc everything, right? And then I think the Brits in the desert are awesome. I mean, they're just those cool counter paint schemes, and I love Crusaders, how they look, and who doesn't like Matildas, You have a Brazen Chariots Battleship Tobruk from MMP. Yeah. I got from a flea market, brand new for half price. Cool. Yeah, I love the Western Desert. Yeah. Cool stuff. My favorite theater when I was doing naval was the Mediterranean. The Mediterranean was my favorite. Both sides have to run convoys. Both sides have battleships and full fleets, potentially. Both sides have aircraft. I mean, if you want to throw that in there. Both sides have submarines. Super interesting. Super, super interesting. You love playing the Italians in the desert. they had cool looking stuff, you know. Yeah, the problem with Italians is they have a lot of stuff that I should do that. I should do an armored commander Italian guy, but I want to do the early ones. So I have to run around in an M1139 because the M1340 is not that bad. Unless it breaks down all the time. Suspect that my fascination with North African campaign was probably started by watching too much Rat Patrol as a kid, and I've never seen it because it was never on. But is Rat Patrol, are they Americans or are they Brits? Because if it's Americans in the desert, that would piss me off. Because it's like, it ends up being a situation like U-571, where it's like, oh, we got to have Americans in there so we can understand. Look, I grew up watching Guns and Navarone. There's no freaking Americans in there, and I love the freaking movie. And that's like my classic World War II go-to movie growing up, you know. The Ariete division was the only Italian division worth anything. What was number 2? Littorio? There was like 3 armored divisions. Soventes are cool. I think that's its name, the Italian assault gun. Yep. It's an Italian Stug, basically, with a shittier gun. Tony, an armored commander, have you been given command of infantry units or an AT gun? No. No, it was Americans acting as recon patrols. I wouldn't want to watch it. Pissed me off. Like, why? Why can't it be Brits? You know? Why can't it be Brits? I didn't watch it because they just didn't play it on the channels that we had back then. Just like Baba Black Sheep. I've seen maybe 2 episodes. Why? They didn't play it, you know? Wasn't that I wouldn't have watched it. They just didn't play it. Because my parents are pretty strict about a lot of stuff, but I watch any war thing I can because, you know, it really freaking happened, you know? Never saw Rat Patrol. Never saw Combat. Wasn't available. And I wouldn't watch it if it's black and white. Screw black and white. Okay. You know, oh, it's black and white World War II. Well, can't I just watch combat footage? That's the real thing, and it's black and white also. You know. Folgore. Okay, Folgore was good as well. Was that the one that was paradroppable? One of them was like a paradrop. Was it like paratrooper division? It might have been Folgore. I've seen Combat and Baba Black Sheep. Yes, Para. Okay, see, I remembered that. I like mid-war stuff, Desert Eastern, mainly because the war wasn't a foregone conclusion, but the Germans weren't necessarily dominating everyone either. I agree with you. Yep. They actually had another para division, Nembo. That must have been after... That sounds like they would be after Alamein. Tunisia would be cool, too. Because it'd be cool to do U.S. vehicles with yellow stars. It's just something different. As opposed to, I think it's silly to do Germans with who have white crosses. It's like, what are the Swiss doing in Poland? Exactly. Get the hell out. You know, and take those little shitty-ass bumper cap berets with you. Yeah, I like the mid-war stuff. I agree with both of you guys, you know? And I prefer my German tanks in Panzer Gray. See? See? And I think I've solved. I didn't know it was... When I left World War II, I didn't know there was this controversy lurking in the background of, is there any blue in Panzer Gray? And I like how it looks, but I'm like, how are you going to do it? I think I solved it. So we're going to do some Panzer Gray vehicles, and this one's... I'm not entirely happy with how the dusting worked on it. I'm probably going to finish it all the way, but we added some blue to it. And it was just a dry brush of Luftwaffe blue. So we colored this thing in Panzer Gray, and then I did a light dry brush of German World War II Luftwaffe blue. And it is just enough blue to make me believe it's pretty close. So that's how we're going to roll with these things. We've got some paint coming to us towards the end of the week. And that will... I really don't want to get into that before the convention, because I want to try to get these guys done, because if I don't get these guys done by the convention, my interest in getting them done anytime next couple months is going to be like zero. So, Balkan crosses were used as target practice by enemy tankers and gunners. I forget what I read, but a German tanker said that. Like with Naps, either France is just way better than everyone else, or on the defensive. Not so in World War II. I do like Panzer Gray, not as good as the Afrika Korps colors, but better than Dunkelgelb with the green-brown stripes. I have both. I like Dunkelgelb with just with green on it. I have both of those Vallejo colors, Tony. I think I mixed the two for my 6mm 1940 German tanks. Yeah. Which con? Huracan. It's the end of next week. In Kissimmee. Man, do I have to go on a pee break? Well, I don't have to, but I choose to. I'm drinking too many liquids. I need to switch to gum. I'll be right back, folks. Yeah, I'm particular about my World War II stuff. I like my Germans in Panzer Gray. That doesn't mean I won't paint them in yellow. My preference of the two. I don't like German tanks that are able to have the turret storage thing in the back and then don't have it. Like an early Panzer III and early Panzer IV that doesn't have it. It just looks weird. I don't like British vehicles with U.S. stars on them. I just think it looks dumb. Why can't they have their own roundel? It's not like the roundel doesn't look better than a star. It's freaking awesome. You know? I'm particular about my stuff, you know? Well, if you have anything like a normal showing, our convention here in Orlando will be almost as big as Historicon this last year. You have a preference for early World War II more so than late World War II. I don't like the battlefields being dominated by super tanks. I don't like the battlefields dominated by aircraft. I have not found a set of World War II rules that I like, but I've only looked to a few, so I need to look more. I think it's a good, cool period. It's the best period. That's always what I used to game, so that's why I kind of went away from it. But to quote Frank Chadwick from his early war book, "Who says you need a tiger to have a good time?" Yeah. Just started reading a book on Audible called Kiev 1941. And it's really dancing around getting to the point of the book. But so far, so good. And what I like about it is they call it Kiev, not Kiev or whatever the hell they call it now. We got to be renaming stuff. It's always been Kiev. What up, my hounds, yo? Okay. Welcome, Andrew. Release thy hounds. Who letteth the doggos out? Oh, we're just hanging out in here. Grab a seat. It's not even 8 yet, man. We started early. I did the best I could. I came home, showered. I even ate en route. These figures aren't going to paint themselves. Check on one thing. Okay, we're good. All right. Painting more Huns. Yep. I got this guy to finish and 3 more, and all the light horse are done, and then I got a command stand. And I've got like 7 days to do it on time. If not, I'm not going to fret about it. They'll either get, as I like to say, they'll either get done or they won't. They will either get done or they won't. What I couldn't believe is how much 1/72nd scale stuff there is for the Polish campaign. There's a company called First to Fight, and it's a Polish company, and they literally make everything for that campaign. They make the 6-wheel German armored cars, the 231 6-rads. They make all kinds of Polish tankettes, Polish trucks, infantry guns, all kinds of stuff. You're working on a 1/32nd scale Spad 7 while watching. One machine gun. A Rodin. Ah. World War II stuff. I like everybody's stuff. There's stuff from everybody that I like. World War One aircraft, I definitely like the Albatross and more than anything else. I don't care if there's better aircraft. I just like how the Albatross look. I think they're the sleekest ones. I also don't mind Newport 17s. I like the French planes because, when do you ever get to play French? Remember, I'm not a Napoleonics guy, so I don't ever get to play French. I don't have any gum here. Wow, there's no gum in the house. All right, let me go fill it with some water. I'll be right back. Oh, this is it. Got knocked out on the floor. Newport 17, that's right. Faults. I like how the falses look too. The shittier Albatross. Hey, I like to play things. They don't have to be the best of their class. Sad fact is, 6mm GHQs become really expensive while 10mm Pendragon is so much cheaper. You get more for your butt. GHQ's out of control, man. Rodin was $70 back then. Holy crap. Yeah, it's 1/32 though. It's pretty big. It's got to be a wingspan of probably like this across. Built a World War I tanks. Do I have that book? Let me see. I have this book. It's not a very good book. I'm pretty sure I commandeered this book. It was one of these books that my dad had. And when he passed away, I'm like, I want this stuff that reminds me of him. That. See if I can find it. Called like Atlas of Weapons in War or something like that. It's a super generic book from the 70s. But there's this one scene on it, this one painting, when it gets to World War I, of these stormtroopers throwing a hand grenade in the trenches. And he's got the 1916 pattern steel helmet. And he's got that funky camel on the helmet, which I always thought looked really cool. No, I don't have that book. It must be at Mom's house. GHQ is now going for 14 pack for 5 vehicles. Yeah, go check how much the 1/2400 scale battleships are. They're like freaking $25. I remember when they were $5. I'm sorry, your wage, the cost of living didn't increase by 500%. You know. Bullshit. I call bullshit. I just ordered some paint today. Hopefully I'll get them by Friday. From a paint supplier almost within traveling distance from me in Florida. So if the service goes really well, they have a lot of stuff there. Their prices seem to be pretty reasonable. Their shipping is reasonable. It's like $3 shipping. We'll do a review on that. And I may contact them and say, hey, if I'm ever in that area, can I stop by and, pick things up? Issues at work. Have a good night, gents. Oh, yeah. Isn't that why they hired us to how many of us that are watching this program are problem solvers at work, and how many are problem causers? Firefighters, I was going to say. Yeah, we put out fires at work. That's all it is, man. Making decisions. Battleship's $20. It's absurdly pricey. Yeah, I remember when it went up to like $12. Miss, what company am I talking about? I haven't told you what it is. It'll be a surprise. I'm not going to steal my own thunder. You just got to wait like 2 days. They'll be here. But they're in Florida. Keep Florida strong. No, I'm fine getting from anywhere. It's not like, just be nice to get it pretty quick. So I got some paints coming from a company that I've never used before. So we'll do a review on them. You guys will see them in action. I'm not going to tell you who they are, even if you guess correctly. Hopefully they don't suck. If they suck, I'm going to tell you they suck. Or if I don't like them, we will see. To quote Rooster Cogburn, I am retired, relieved, and rejoicing. I can't wait. I just don't see myself being one of those people that's going to be bored. I know so many people, though. They're like, I'm going to be able to do this. I'm going to be able to do that. I'm going to be able to do this when they retire. And they're retired. I can't do anything now. I don't have the money for it. Well, you shouldn't retire then. If I retire and have less time for this, then I'm doing it wrong. I'm doing it wrong. Don't need to retire. Speaking of planes, here's a joke for you. Ooh, hopefully it's as good as Kevin's. Okay, we can go ahead and do the bow now. Oh, I overheard that. I heard that joke recently. I heard that joke recently on Facebook. Yeah, only part of your joke came through. Go look and see what came in there. Oh, unless some of it like is asked for me to, because sometimes that happens. Hold on a second here. Nope. Yeah, only part of your joke came in there. No, I saw it on Facebook. It might have been you. I don't think it was. I think it was on Facebook. Okay. The bow color. I got a, speaking of World War I planes, I got a book that was given to me, I want to say this last Christmas. Let's see. I saw it just a moment ago. It's an old book. Probably got all kinds of inaccurate shit in it. Heroes and Airplanes of the Great War. I actually prefer this. I prefer World War I to be called the Great War. Look at this. That's a crazy paint scheme. All right, we'll let you get out of jail, but you got to fly a plane that looks like this. All right, all right. I fly the plane. Moraine Saulnier, right? That what they were called? I think so. Albatross, either a 5 or a 3. SE-5A, and a Spad, Rickenbackers. There's some color stuff in here, but there's a lot of like black and white. Oh, this is probably from 1968 edition. Somebody turned me on to the might have been Jeffrey Smith, that they put the Wings of Glory on as a computer game. And I liked it. And played all the scenarios and waiting for more to be released. Foiled by technology. Hey Doug, welcome back. Foiled by technology. That's okay. Technology gets me all the time, too. Especially if you're typing on a phone. Yeah, I make mistakes on a phone, but I don't make very many mistakes handwriting stuff, but the problem is it's not practical. Just downloaded Wings of Glory a few days ago. It's on Steam. Yep. Yeah, I'm ready for them to. Again, they should have started with there's no Eindeckers and there's no Moraine Saulniers. There's no Newports. I have a flight simulator that's freaking awesome for the VR. For it's all World War One. And I'm telling you what, if you get motion sickness, do not fly that. I don't get motion sickness because it doesn't bother me at all. But no French planes in it at all. None. No Spads, no Newport 17s. Forget Newport 28s. They don't have those in there either. No Spads of any kind. No Newports. What are they waiting for? Yeah, there's only 4 planes really. Yeah, and I don't count snipes. Snipes aren't a real plane. I mean, it's like adding, we got Fokker D8s. Throw those away. Those show up too late, They don't even have the pushers. 2 good books. Wind Through the Wires and Fighting the Flying Circus. Hey, Kevin. Still the leading ace for Wings of War at the old game shop. Wings of Glory, I mean. It's the same thing. It's the same game. It's the same game. I have all of the set of the Wings of War. I sold stuff and then I used it to buy it, and it was probably a bad buy because I've played it like one time. And I've got the mats and everything. I'd just rather do something else than play that. Like that. What's that plane that I have that has a purple camo on it? The German Observer plane. I like that one. That one in Albatross. Why can't I remember what it is? Because I don't think about it all day long. I'm getting older. I'm forgetting shit. Talk about a bad buy. I bought the X-Wing game a few years back. I never played it. Yeah. I like Star Wars stuff, but I wish Disney hadn't been involved in it. Seems like everything they touch, it just turns into a golden turd. One of those games has the ships that are pre-painted. They look beautiful. They look absolutely beautiful. I forget if it's Armada or X-Wing. It's probably both, but one of them in particular has the ships that are just gorgeous. And they're expensive, but that's okay. They look great. I think I played Armada one time, and I don't remember anything about it. Other than it didn't want me to keep coming back for more. It wasn't horrible. It just wasn't that interesting. You see, at Disney basically blacklisted the last trilogy they made for Star Wars. They claim it's not canon now. No, I don't pay attention to anything they say. But there was some announcement about the next that I saw that came up on my feed on something I wasn't even looking for, and it was like the next 8 movies for Marvel, and I'm like, you guys lost me. You guys lost me. I'm never a comic book person. Okay, I was watching them because my daughter kind of got into them, and she was watching things for the first time, and I'm like, oh, I'll go ahead and see it and watch it. So it was just something for us to talk about each other. She always knew more about it than I did, and she's not really a nerd burglar. She just watched the movies, and as a matter of fact, I can't get her to go into a game store to pick up paint or something like that. She's scared of gamers at game stores. I don't blame her. But that's all over the place. It's just too many, too often. They interact with each other. Some of them I like, some of them I hate. You know, you got too many weirdos and in too many of the movies. You know, it's just too many oddballs in movies, and it's kind of hard to keep track of everything. And he said that, and oh, remember when they said this in this movie? Nope. I watch movies one time. I'm not going to watch them over and over and over again. Nope. I got other stuff to do. Never a comic book fan either. The only superhero I care to watch is Batman, but not when Batman is being played by Pattinson. I'm not even gonna watch that. I'm not even gonna watch that. I didn't even have a problem with Affleck that bad. I really didn't have a problem with it. You know, there's that one sequence in one of the movies, and it was a dream sequence, unfortunately. And I mentioned this before, where they're doing some kind of weapons deal in the desert, and Batman has freaking guns. Fuck yeah. That's what you want. An armored ninja with firepower. Yep. That's a vigilante. Yep. And kills people. Sign me up. That's the movie I want to see. D23 going on now. What's that? Speaking of Disney. What's D23? That's some festival. That's maybe what I saw that came up. They were like announcing, oh, all these Avenger. I don't give a shit about the Avenger movies. I can count on like one hand how many of the Marvel movies that I actually think are okay. You know, and they're still stupid, but at least they're, you know, you either like the actor or, you know, they're entertaining or, you know. I basically hated Disney once they started getting involved in politics. Like, you make entertainment, shut the hell up, make movies, you know? Or make whatever. And stop buying everything, okay? Like, it was bad enough when they bought ABC News. Like, stop buying everything. Monopoly's bad. Disney going over their future projects. That's probably what it is. Mm. Stop shoving this crap down our throat, Disney. Yeah, just don't watch it. You know? And I'm actually okay if they want to make woke this and woke that. But there's no reason to destroy the past. You know, like, oh, we need I don't know, a black Superman. Why? I mean, I'm fine with them making other superheroes, you know? Going to backfire on them? I don't know. There's plenty of people that buy into it. The world's a lot different than we think it is, unfortunately. The pandemic pretty much proved it to me. I didn't think that was the case. I'm like, 40% of the people think the way I do. Nope, it's like 2, maybe. Maybe. Well, I'll do what I can do, which is I ain't gonna change. F them. I'm not gonna change. And I swear some of this stuff's like, you gotta be on, you know, here's the thing is, a lot of these people that make movies, they're obviously drug users, okay? So some of this stuff, I've never done drugs. It doesn't make sense to me, okay? Like, we started watching, I actually liked the first Doctor Strange because I thought it was gonna be a brain fart. And I like what's his face, whatever his name is. Again, I can't think of what his name is. The British guy, Cumberbatch. I thought he was excellent in it, and I had really low expectations in the movie. And I do not like the Tilson woman, and I do not like Max Mikkelsen, either one of them. And I still like the movie. I thought it was pretty cool. So I was excited to watch the second one with my daughter. We're watching it here at home, and we're like, "What the f are these people on?" I couldn't watch it. I made it like 10 minutes. I'm like, I can't watch this anymore. It's just, it's just ridiculously out of control. It just doesn't make any sense. So, what was this? I coined a phrase the other day, and I should have written it down what it was, but it was something along the lines of, and it had to do with either work is so crazy or something is so crazy that they think that you need to be medicated. And say, just because the world is crazy doesn't mean I need to turn into a druggie. They want to solve everything like, oh, you need to take pills or whatever. No, you need to have like some semblance of freaking order. I'm not taking drugs just because there's too much freaking chaos. Stop the chaos. You must be old school like me. I'm not old school. I just remember how things were, and maybe we should have lost the Cold War. Maybe that was the solution. We should have lost the Cold War, and maybe things would have been better. Alternate reality. My favorite alternate reality is there's no World War I, or the Germans win, and see what happens. It's because Marvel is hyper-focused on the multiverse, which also doesn't make sense. Yeah, I didn't do well in Algebra 2, so I don't do well with the multiverse. They want you to drug your kids. Ain't gonna happen. Nope, this young'un just needs whooped. Well, discipline. Yeah, you need to you can't just... You can't do whatever you want. You can't do whatever you want. Just like I had I went to take my car in. This was a couple of weeks ago. And this lady who was at least 5 years older than me, which to me means you should have frickin' known better, okay? Because you were raised at a time where you knew who your dad was, all right? And you didn't do shit like that. She went and cut in line and just parked in some ridiculous place like, F the world. And this isn't Miami. This isn't New York City. I live in a town about 150,000 people, 130, 150,000 people. Depends if all the students are in. This is a small town in the South, okay, where, you respect people and you don't do shit like that. And I couldn't believe it. I almost had words with her. You don't behave like that. You don't behave like that. I would never do something like that to somebody. And I expect the same treatment in kind. And it's not like she's 19 years old or some punk ass, whatever. She knows better. Is this the Eric Gray, Mr. Flames of War of Laurenborough? It certainly is. The only alternate universe I liked is the one in which classic Star Trek where Kirk was an evil captain. Can't say I've seen that episode. There's a book, I think it's called The Texas War, about Germans in America after winning Europe. Haven't seen you in a while. Hope you're doing well. You too. Hope all's well with you. Hey! We'll go out for drinks later. If only. Hobbit Hobby Shop on Saturdays. What town is that in? Eric, you live in North Carolina, don't you? Or is it South Carolina? One of them there Carolinas. We can use the same buff color for this. We'll be all right using this. This is what we do. We just hang out and talk about shit. Sometimes Star Trek comes up, or Marvel, or... Fayetteville. I stopped in Fayetteville on the way up to Virginia one time, and we did not find that town very, what's the correct word to say? There was a lot of zombies at night. Let's put it that way. Endearing. Doug and I used to game at the same hobby shop. Then I got very ill and dropped out of circulation for a while, but I'm well now. Excellent. And it was all cured by retiring. Retirement. It's the gift that always fits. Oh, I can't wait. You know what? I'm fine not being able to retire. I mean, really, what I don't want to have is the shakes. Please don't give me the shakes. Or go blind. Anything else. Deaf, I'll take deaf. I can't, I'm halfway there anyways. I can't hear. You know, I don't need the shakes. I don't need to go blind. I got a lot of stuff to produce. And a lot of desire to produce it. Had COVID at the same time Rick did, spent 10 days in the hospital with double pneumonia. You hath returned. You had the shakes really bad during chemotherapy. What eventually went away, all I could paint was German squiggly camel. Well, it went away. That's good. I'm glad you're better, man. I'm glad you're better and that shit never comes back. That's the stuff I'm worried about. I'm not worried about anything else other than that. And fortunately, I don't have that runs in my family. I have heart attacks. Yes! You'd think that'd be the hard thing to cure, but we took a day off from the gym today for a good cause. Yeah, I don't want that. I don't want the shakes. All right, one more level up. This guy will live? He'll live. This guy will leave 3 horses left on the light horse. Eric is a fantastic painter and awesome gamer. Miss playing with this guy. That is what the hobby is all about. Awesome people like Eric. I only met him at Historicon. I know his brother real well. How many days a week do you go to the gym, Tony? I'm trying to go probably on average 4. You're good authority. You're an awesome painter. You're an awesome person. Hats off to you. All I can say... Ass. Can I say ass in here? Yes. Yes. You can cuss on here. As long as you don't call somebody a name. I always think of cussing like, using an exclamation point. Not that big of a deal. If every other word is that, well, that's not cool. But, It's for emphasis. That's why I don't like people that type everything in caps. Not because they're yelling, you're yelling. No, it's because you've overemphasized everything. How do you emphasize a word if every single word is capitalized, if it's not all caps? Why is that piece of terrain called the juicer? Really? You don't know that? Okay. Because it's phallic shaped, okay? And it reminds me of this medieval torture thing called the pear, and where they would suspend somebody on this thing and they would slowly, they would impale themselves rectally on this thing. So, it's a juicer. You're literally juicing someone, like an orange or a lemon. That's why it's called the juicer. Not that you'd want to drink any of that juice. You go walking 5 days a week, Tony, still dedicated to it as fall starts. Oh, yeah. When it's cold, oh, yeah. I love being outside when it's cold. Been playing 40K, some with my oldest son, and I still play some solo war games these days. Any of you 40K guys played that, what is that, like free-to-play, non-denominational 40K game? Is it called Iron something? Something like that? Oh, that sounds horrifying. Yeah, I don't. So supposedly, I came across, top 10 worst ways of being tortured. Number one is like the brass bull, which I don't think is the worst one. But I always think anything that involves like beheading, like really gory. Anything that involves you dying and you not being able to be recognized is bad. I think that's bad. Grim Dark Future. Any of you guys played that? That's an invented torture device, and it's really fun. I know, I skipped over your other comment on purpose. Not for the person being tortured. Yeah. Speaking of being tortured, you guys ever seen that movie called Ironclad? It has this scene where it has two cool scenes in it. Unique scenes. Let's not say they're cool scenes because you wouldn't want this to happen to you. One of them is the guy takes a broadsword from here and cuts the guy diagonally here, and they made a really good mock-up. And the other one is where they cut the guy's limbs off and they launch him up against the wall. Like with, yeah, that stuff's bad. That stuff's really bad. Kissing the gunner's daughter. I don't know that saying. That's why it's called the juicer, Kevin. Because they make juice out of you. Yep, that was the movie about the castle siege and the Barons' War. Yep. Vikings had some nasty... Can you see the close-up of the mini? Blood Eagle was vicious. Being strapped to a cannon and having the skin flogged off of you. I gotta think of worst ways. Mini? He looks gonna look like shit on here. Here, let's give him some buddies. I'm gonna go get a beverage. Let's make it water. Be right back. Oh, I better put my glasses on. I'll never find myself. Damn it, it's dark here. Blood Eagle. Blood Eagle sounds like... You guys see Apocalypto? I rewatched that recently. I remember seeing that in the movie theater with the whole family. Well, not my wife or daughter. She wasn't born yet. She wasn't born yet? I don't think she was born yet. Close. She might have been really, really little. That's just barbaric shit. There's, killing people, and then there's doing that. Glad you like them, Doug. They'll look better when they're finished. Not a family movie. Aztecs are not family friendly in general. One of the worst civilizations ever on this earth. That stuff is known about. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that we just don't know about. Why? Because you can't negotiate with them. Anybody that you, I've said this before, anybody that you can't negotiate with, like bad people that you can't negotiate with is a problem. And then you're like, hey, we want to kill you. How about I pay you and you don't kill me? You can negotiate with them, right? Nope, they still want you for human sacrifice. You know? So. And my ancestors were dicks. Let's get that right, but let's get that straight. But there's no doubt whose side I would be on. I don't think anybody has any good to say. Well, if you look at revisionist stuff, they're harmless people, you know. I'm just telling you, every culture has done really bad stuff. Every culture. But some people you can't like buy your way or talk your way out of them, you know? It's like they're coming for you, you know? Do I have a video where I go into detail how I do it on bases? I do. Can I send the link here? Yes, if I have a mouse, I can. Let's see. Let's do this here. And we're going to add another window. And if you go onto my channel, which you should all be subscribed to, because what that does is it makes it easier to be recommended to other people. Like if you have like one subscriber and somebody's just looking around for war game stuff, they're never recommending your stuff out there. That's it. That's the only reason why. I had one guy, a friend of mine, who's pretty airheaded. He's like, oh, but I can't afford every month. That's another monthly. It's free, dumbass. I mean, I'm not a tech person, and I figured that out. All right, let me go to okay, we're going to go home. Come on. Maybe it's here. Your channel. Okay, and then we're going to go to playlists. And there's a playlist called Painting and Modeling. No, I don't want to play it. No, don't play it. No, don't play it, damn it. Fumble. Back. Thank you. I want to view the playlist. It's the wrong playlist. Don't you hate it when you click on something and just before you hit the click button, it moves on it and you click on something else? All right, and then there is a video. And I also have a video how I spray stuff and I don't get cloudiness, which seems to be something that everybody has a problem with. Why isn't this in order? Oh, here's the video I want. I want to share it. I want to copy. I want to come over here. Let's see if I can do this. I may not be able to pull this off. paste. Okay, that should be the link to it. You hate that a lot, actually. It really drives me up a wall. Yep. Yep. All right, let's close this because that's probably going to mess up the bandwidth. Okay, that's the link to my basing video. And it's probably the best quality video I've done. It's probably... I find that as I get older, there are more things I hate, but it seems to be related to aging. No. You know what I hate? And I use hate. I really shouldn't say hate as much. I don't like. Okay? The things I find myself not liking are things that are uncurable, that keep freaking happening, and there's nothing I can do about it. And I have to play the game. Because, like, for instance, at work, you got to deal with stuff that always keeps happening. There's nothing you can do about it. In your personal life, I'm like, see that over there? I don't like that. So what do? You don't go over there. You know? Whatever that is can go fly a kite. I go in a different direction. But at work, you got to freaking deal with it. As you get older, I find it harder to get into television and video games. Me too. Yeah. Play Skyrim. Do you play multiple character types? I don't play Skyrim, but I play Diablo. I play all the characters in Diablo. Or used to. But that's not really a role-playing game. That's more like it's a treasure hunt. I don't like games that are focused on, go to that guy and talk to him. Okay. You read, okay, that happened. Oh, okay, now you got to go talk to so-and-so. Go to another town, go talk to that one. How about like, I want to kill people or like, do tactics or something like that on the way over there or something. I talk to people already in my normal life. I don't need to do that at a game. I'm not saying you can't have conversation. I just don't want the main focus to be conversation. Or a game that's very linear. Like you go and you can go here and the only thing you can do is talk to that other person. I'm like, well, why don't you just walk over there? But if you like can go off on tangents and shit like that, even if they get you killed, I much prefer fantasy to science fiction because the thing is about science. Fantasy is fantasy, right? It doesn't have to be believable. But science fiction, I feel like it needs to be believable. It's not like, well, you can do whatever you want. No, then it would be fantasy. Science fiction has to be, like believable, but there's more advanced technology than there is now, but you still have to have the same kind of laws. And I don't know, maybe I'm overthinking it, but I have a lot easier time accepting fantasy things than science fiction things because I feel like science fiction things need to have a semblance of reality to them that fantasy doesn't necessarily have to have. I don't know if that makes any sense, but same Nordic male for the last 5 years, just started a new character a couple months ago and still went with another human, this time Imperial. Oh, I did not like Fallout 3 at all. I didn't like how it looked. When is Recon? Well, Huracan's next week. Recon's not till April. What character I play depends on what the game is like. So if it's a game like Assassin's Creed or World of Warcraft or something like that, where you're going to be constantly looking at the back end of a character, I'd rather it be a female character. Just saying. Just saying. Gonna be staring at a butt for 2 hours, 2 or 3 hours. It might as well be one you like. Yeah. Is that simple enough for you? There's technology that was influenced by science fiction. And besides, I don't mind girls kicking ass. You know? And if I beat up a girl, I'd like for her to defend herself and kick my ass. And some of the female characters in games these days are very well done. Yeah, I haven't played very many games that have that. Like that, what's that Assassin's Creed Odyssey one where you play the girl? She's cute. I mean, she could kick my ass, but she's cute. That's a beautiful game, though. That is just, I mean, it's like half fantasy or whatever, but that's like inspirational. Like, I'm gonna crank that thing up if I ever do like Greeks, because just the architecture and stuff it's very inspirational. Very, very inspirational. The female minis in KDM are awesome. What's KDM? Love that scene in Harry Potter with the French girls. I'm sorry, I've tried watching the first Harry Potter movie twice. I think the record is like 14 and a half minutes as far as I've been able to make it. It does not appeal to me. Harry Potter and French girls. All right, I'm going to have to look it up though. It's not like underage French girls, is it? That's not cool. I mean, Harry Potter is like 13 years old or something like that. What's KDM? Kingdom Death Monster. What the? Is that miniatures? Kingdom Death Monster. What was that movie that I was watching? I never did finish watching. It was just like a brain fart. You had to be on drugs to do it. Oh, what was it called? Sucker Punch. And it was just violence that didn't make any sense, with skimpily dressed girls kicking ass. And I'm like, this is just like, I couldn't even watch it. It was just out of control. It was out of control. Board game with some insanely detailed miniatures, many of which are horrifying. Kingdom Death Monster. All right. This is what we're here for. We're here to hang out. Kingdom Death Monster. Let's find out what Kingdom Death Monster is. I always wanted to play one of those zombie games. I've played one of them. One of them has like a shopping mall or something like that. That's like, mildly co-op. Emily Browning. Oh, yeah. Emily Browning. No, who's the girl that I like that's on there? The girl that has a unique name. She's just beautiful. That's a shitty movie though. It was so bad I couldn't finish it. All right, let's look at that first. The main girl didn't do anything for me. I mean, I wouldn't say she's unattractive. She just didn't do anything for me. There's a difference. Who's the girl? Abby Cornish. Abby Cornish is beautiful. She's absolutely beautiful. Okay. Although I've seen her in an interview, and she's got an accent that I don't love. But so I won't mess with her. Just what was that? Kingdom Death Monster? Oh man, Kingdom Death Monster. But I'll watch stuff that has pretty girl. They don't have to be skimpily dressed. It doesn't have to have sexual content. It's just, it's pleasant to watch something that's easy on the eyes. Kingdom Death Boutique Nightmare Horror. What the F? Kingdom Death Monster, a fully cooperative tabletop hobby game experience. Unite to survive by hunting monsters and collectively guiding the... All right, let me click on this and see what we're dealing with. 19 pounds of nightmare horror gaming. Okay, so this is like Cthulhu-ish or something like that. Oh, I can't paint that stuff. That would take a lifetime. These look like there's some weird scale, like 32 mil or something like that. Never heard of this thing. I'll tell you what was fantasy was pretty cool, and it was on my video. Those guys that made that fantasy realm that had like all of like the Aztecs and the Incas and Native Americans and Inuit and whatever. So it was like fantasy gods and all that stuff. That was pretty freaking cool. Intimacy couple. Well, that sounds like something that's printed in China. The way it's written. Young Rachel and Old Joe. Masks. I don't know. This like doesn't tell you a whole lot about it. Emily Browning played Baby Doll. She doesn't do anything for me. Check out KDM Gorm, the giant horror baby. I haven't even seen it and already know the comment I'm going to make. KDM Gorm? Gorm. Okay. All right. Here we go. Kingdom Death Monster Gorm. That's not what you call it, baby. Gorm expansion. Come on, just show me images. Oh, nice. Nice. Are you one of those people that's scared by dolls? I'm not. But this would be, yeah. Gorm. Yeah, I'd hate to change his diaper. I think Tony is referencing Mythicos. Mythicos? That is thing for Asian women and blonde women. Yeah. Well, I prefer brunettes and redheads, so we could just split them up. Depends on the redhead. Oh. Basically, you start with no weapons. Not a good start. Or armor. And you have to hunt monsters to get resources to build weapons and armor and try to survive 30-year campaign. Oh, while you buy expansions. There should be more games like X-Wing and Armada where things come pre-painted really nicely and then you can just buy stuff and enjoy the game. You know? Okay. What happened to the water I got? Jeez. I would have never found out about that game. So it's a co-op game, like what, Descent? The game that kills everybody. I think they stopped making that, didn't they? I remember when that was big. Everybody was playing that all the time. I never got a chance to play it. And I don't necessarily mind co-op type games like that. I played Arkham Horror one time. I'm like, okay, well, this is a long time to lose. You know? Yes, Tony, yes. Will they come pre-painted? Sure. But they gotta look good. It's gotta look good. Like, that's why I don't mind board games. There's a lot of board games that look really good. And okay, so it's flat and it's cardboard, but it takes you somewhere. You get a visual, not a shitty looking board game like Catan, okay? I would rather go to work than play Catan. Catan just looks like shit. Sorry, you know. Led down the rabbit hole. That's no rabbit hole. Hey, I'm still here. It's co-op and you die a lot. It's okay to die, as long as it's not just you. You know? Betrayal, A House of the Hill is a fun game. God, I've played one of them, and I don't remember what it was. I want to say it involved a mall, and you go to different stores, and then you had to kind of get out, and I think it had miniatures, and they weren't painted, but I've seen some of those that don't have miniatures. They have the little stand-up things for your character, and they all look good, you know. Back to the Huns. There's a specific army of Mitches that you want to smash with the Huns. Yeah, the frickin' Chinese. Even though the Huns are the bad guys. Yeah, that's not these in particular, but the Shungnu would be built to fight his Han. That's why I picked this army. And we're going to work on some scenarios with. Maybe it's Zombicide. Is Zombicide not the same as House? I get those two mixed up because they both look cool. You know, is one better than other? Is one better than the other? Have you played both? Inquiring minds want to know. Inquiring minds want to know. We got to finish this guy so we do some Armored Commander. Mainly so I can not hunch over it as much. I'm feeling it, but I got this guy in the bag now. This guy's going down now. I don't mind the co-op games because then you can kind of help each other out. No, do this next, or so it's a more friendly atmosphere. You know. That's how we did when we played that Aliens game. That was a lot of fun. Whatever the hell it was called. It's like a dungeon crawl. It was pretty challenging, too. You played Zombicide, but not the other. I'll have to look at it. I only played it one time. All right. We're going to do brown on the outside of the hat. We'll get brown fur on this Joker. Has the temperature been cooling down? No. No. Nope. Nope. No. Not until late October, probably. And sometimes it's hot in late October. Huns took out some of my favorite armies. That's how I feel about the Mongols. Close-up cam froze. Did it? That one never freezes. I think you're right. Oh, I don't know if I can fix that one. Let's see if I can. Let's see. What would I do? That one is webcam? No. That one is called... Oh, yeah, it's flipped. I'm so used to it. Yeah, that's the one that jams all the time. All right, we'll be able to fix this. So we'll come over here. That's my phone. Okay, we're going to disconnect from Wi-Fi. We're going to reconnect on Wi-Fi. And then it should fix itself. There it is. Cooler here, only 87 today. I'm swearing the first person I hear complain about the cold weather here in Florida, I'm gonna get somebody to behead them. It's absurd. It's absurd. You know, it's okay if you're going somewhere that's hot. Like, you know, you're going to the beach or you're working out in the yard. You expect to be sweating, but just going from point A to point B, you know, I'm not gaming in 85 degree weather. I'm just not going to do it. And that's what the air conditioning is going. I'm just not going to do it. You know, it isn't worth it. I'm freaking angry. By the time I get done with it, I mean, still enjoy doing stuff with the guys, but I get angry. I've got to edit a video. I'm all sweaty. I need a freaking shower. I got to work the next day. I've been uncomfortable, you know. And I've been hot all day by the time I get to that point. It's not like I'm sitting at home. Hoodies. I love wearing stuff like that. I love Florida, but I hate the weather here. Only thing bad about the winter is the candy asses will put the heater on. And I don't mean the candy asses here, because I don't live with people that have a polar, that want something different than I do. Thank goodness, because that's not bearable. I mean, if I lived with somebody that was, you know, cold all the time, I'd have to murder them. I mean, it'd be that simple. There's just no negotiation, you know. And don't get me wrong, I don't ever drop the air here to lower than 72. You can't afford it. And you'd freeze the unit out there. But it's at 72. I have a minimal amount of clothing on. You know, yes, it's all decent. And, you know, the fans are on high. You know, you do what you can. You can't, but those days, there's been days where it's like in the 60 or something. I don't turn the heat on, you know, in the wintertime, because it'll get into like 18. It's hard to get under 18. But there's a couple days. I think last winter was actually pretty cold. I'm sorry, pretty nice. And, you know, that's free air conditioning. You know, I remember one day when I was living alone, it was 53 degrees in the house. And no windows were ever opened, okay? 53 degrees in that house. You know how much you have to pay for that? And you get it for free? Amazing. So you can't live with somebody who's polar, the opposite of you. I'm watching some commercial. There's some commercial about, you know, a couple that's in bed, and it's like what is it? Like, it showed him as he's always cold, and I'm like, what a pussy. What dude is always cold at night? I'm like my own son. I'll be like, you know, freaking drenched at night, you know. Like, I love it when my feet are cold. I love it. I mean, I don't want to be icicles, but you know, when they're cool. Sit in front of the fan these days. Yep. It's just too much nicer to throw on a hoodie or something if you're cold than sit there and be miserable marinating in your own juices. Absolutely. And it's comfortable to have long sleeves on. I think so. I like hoodie weather myself. Autumn chill's the best. Winters here are really cold. Yeah, but I'd like your winters because you have wet winters. And I can't handle the dry winters. Like the Colorados, oh, just bad. Bad, 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 bad. All right, he's going to have a little gray top. See if we can bring one of these colors back to. And I really dislike the heater. It just burns all kinds of, every bit of humidity out of you. You get a headache. You wake up sick if I sleep in cold. I don't. I wake up happy. Only time I don't like it cold is when I'm eating ice cream, which is almost never. Nearly never. Like to sleep in a cold room under a bunch of blankets. You know it with the airflow. Don't like heating systems because they kick out dust, and I'm severely allergic to dust. Yep. And then when they crank up for the first time, it smells like where's that cat? There he is. He's caught fire inside the heater. All right, what do we got left on it? The mane and the hooves, and we're done. And we're done. And then we will switch to Armored Commander, which I could switch it from on the same video. But I will create another video because that way it has a different heading. All right, let's do this color as the base of the horsehair. And I'm gonna need a snack because I is hungry. And I wish I could play another vehicle. Honestly, Jagdpanzer is becoming almost too easy. Oh, I said that. I got out of some situations. And the only reason I picked that vehicle is because I built it. So I'll guarantee the next vehicle I pick is another one that I built. Really would like to play another Sherman, but... Hoofs. Hoofacies. Hoofsies. Okay, Skylab. Thanks for coming by, as always. I'm going to laugh if Allied Air Power takes me out immediately. It's probably a good thing. I'll move on to a different vehicle. I should have. I survived, what, 2 attacks? I can't believe I was crew exposed and took a flamethrower attack. First of all, flamethrower attack was only 6 firepower. It really should have been much more than that. If you play Advanced Squad Leader, you attack a vehicle with a flamethrower, it's curtains for the vehicle. It's curtains for the vehicle. As it should be. The flames go onto it and then, get sucked in by the engine and, play as a Panzer I on the Eastern Front. That's fair enough. I should play as a Panzer I in Poland. No? Start the war there? See, the problem with it is I'd like to pick a shitty vehicle to start with and then put it on random where I can put something somewhere else. Yeah, the Eastern. I started one. I got put in a 221 armored car, which is a 4-wheeled armored car that only has one MG34. So I'd rather have two MGs, which that's a pair of MG15s. I thought it was a pair of MG34s, but no, it's like a machine gun that's in the aircraft. There's 2 of those. Have you ever seen those videos of people crawling through caves smaller than a bread box? Yeah, I wouldn't want to do that. I'm afraid of... yes, do that. Start in Poland as a Panzer II. Okay. As a Panzer II? Play as a Panzer... play as a Panzer II on the Eastern Front. I thought you said play as a Panzer I. I can play as a Panzer II on the Eastern Front. I have one. I have a one already in play. I'll do that. Yeah, I actually got randomly assigned a Panzer IIF. That's what it was. That one's actually on random. So, which was cool, because that's what actually got me to start painting this guy. So I have a 2F. I'll switch to that if I get taken out on the Jagdpanzer. Yeah, I'm afraid... I saw a video about a story that a Russian may be attempting to clone a Scythian. Really? Don't the Russians have something a little bit more pressing concern right now? Have you ever seen those videos of people crawling through caves smaller than a bread box? I went to Ruby Falls within the last year, and I was terrified. I was terrified of there being a cave-in, and that's a pretty safe place. I did it, and eventually I got over it, but those mine collapses and shit like that, oh, I don't want to go like that. Oh, no. No. I would not do well. Those mine collapses, like those guys I think I saw a movie or something like those guys in freaking Chile or something like that where they were stuck inside the mine. Nope. They have this huge fort in Puerto Rico, a huge Spanish fort. And the walls are, I'm trying not to exaggerate, at least 20 feet thick. And at the top of the fort, they have the normal part where you look up and go, hello. Okay? But they also have these man-height passageways that are also at the top that eventually lead to the end where you could fire muskets basically from the edge of the fort. But they start man height and they taper down to where you can only low crawl in there. And there's not that much stone above you. There's maybe, 10 feet of stone above you. Maybe less than that, because they're towards the top of the battlements. And I couldn't go to the end. I was worried about it crashing on me, My fear is basically being put in a trunk of a car. That's why you gotta make sure if you borrow the money from the mob, you pay their ass back. They get paid first, okay? Don't most modern cars have like a thing where you can get out? I mean, if you're in an old car, you're up a creek, but yeah, you got to make sure you pay the mob people back first. Means you won't have cable TV or something like that, but you got to make sure you pay those guys back. I have several Panzer II models. MMS. I think I've got 3 of them. I think I got a C, a D, and something else. I don't think it's the flamethrower one. And I don't think it's the B, because the B has a different running gear. Got like weird running gear. That's the thing I like the most about Saving Private Ryan is you got to see one of those 20mm autocannons that are magazine fed in action. And given it's not exactly the same gun, because that one is a really long caliber and an aircraft weapon, but it's still a 20mm magazine fed, 10-round magazine fed weapon. I don't know if the aircraft one only holds 10 rounds. But the one in the tank does. You know, it's just like da 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 da. You know, so it's. I guess it's fast. It shoots as fast as a semi-automatic pistol does if you just you constantly fired it. Not fully automatic, but it's automatic enough. Okay, this clown's done. That clown's done. And you want a 1/16 scale Panzer II from Takom. Those kits look really good. Those aren't from China, are they? All right, so we're going to sign off of here. We've been on here 340 minutes. No, 3 hours and 40 minutes, and we got one guy done. Well, we did a lot of other stuff, too. I'm going to call it a win. And we don't have any more of these guys to paint. The rest of the guys are all forged in battle. The other 3. So we're going to move these guys off to the side. We're going to sign off here. Give me about 10, 15